Guys, I know you've been wondering what's underneath the hood of my Shelby Daytona over here, and this is it. What we got is a Gen 2 Coyote, 435 horsepower, red line around 7,000. So it's kind of a top end motor. Pretty good for such a light car, 2,700 pounds, somewhere around there. Quite a bit for a Daytona kit, but it has all the creature comforts with the subs and the stereo, air conditioning, power steering, and all that is all hidden here. Sometimes I have my engine cover on, sometimes I have it off because I like to see what's going on here. And yeah, so we'll just start from the front. Right here we got the custom factory 5 radiator. Now, oddly enough, this is flipped from the Cobra radiator, and the Cobra radiator is like this, Daytona radiator is like that, and they just flip it around 180 degrees. It probably saves them a lot in manufacturing cost to only have one radiator, and that way that radiator is only $300, and it's a nice aluminum cross flow radiator, and obviously it's made for this car too, which increases production costs. So then we have our speaking of radiator, we got our Moroso expansion tank, basically a factory Mustang tank. I raised it a little bit just to have more efficiency with the hot water being a little bit higher. Cool water is going to drain down, give it just a little bit more efficiency. And so yeah, that's basically all the cooling system. You got a heater here, goes to the thermostat. That thermostat will close. It won't, once you turn on the AC, those are the AC lines. Compressor over here, and then you also have the power steering pump right there, and Moroso power steering aluminum reservoir, all really clean. Now, speaking of reservoirs, a lot of people wonder why we have 3 reservoirs here. This one's a clutch, front brakes, rear brakes. And the reason why you have 2 brake reservoirs is because you have 2 master cylinders. This is what's called a dual master cylinder setup. All wheelwood brakes. You got bigger ones in the front than the rear, so obviously you're going to need more bias towards the front. You need more bias towards the front anyway. And so what happens is you got these 2 master cylinders, and you got a balance bar in between where you can adjust it, and it'll put more pressure on the front or the rear brake. Pretty trick stuff, huh? I have one of my favorite parts is the headers. These are factory 5, custom made, just for this car, just for the Daytona, just for the Coyote, second gen Coyote that's in here. Got primary oxygen sensors. Obviously, we're not running cats, so we don't need the secondaries. It's tuned out of the ECU, but it still has a factory ECU, which is pretty cool. Coming into some straight pipes here. 4 into 1 into 2. Obviously it's 1 for the oxygen sensor, into 2 2.5-inch pipes. And these used to be glass packs, but these are actually custom welded up, and all the guts are out of them, so they're just running straight pipes. Sounds pretty good. And then the other thing that I love about the engine bay and the chassis itself is just the space frame. It looks a lot cleaner. These tubes are a lot smaller, and it just looks a lot more racy because it is. It's more efficient, lighter, stiffer. You have more room to fit this big old wide Coyote engine. No displacement, not that big, 5 liters, but it's wide since it's dual overhead cam. And that's basically the engine bay of the Daytona. Like I said, there's the air conditioning and the heat. Goes into the firewall. The foot box there is where the air conditioning unit is. The front suspension, fully adjustable, conies. Like I said, big old 15-inch wheelwood brakes. All LED lights. And the wiring's done pretty clean, I think, in this.